For the record, if you were Aaron Rodgers, Joy, wouldn't you be rooting for Jordy Nelson to have a great year?
Yeah, of course.
Because it furthers the narrative that Green Bay never gave Aaron a great defense. They don't keep his guys. Listen, the best 8 quarterbacks I've ever seen play. I'm not counting guys that played when they had like leather helmets. The best 8 quarterbacks I've ever seen play are Peyton Manning, Brady, Montana, Bradshaw, Elway, Marino, Aikman, and Breeze. Aaron Rodgers, to me, is in the next group. Now, some put Favre in that. To me, he made too many mistakes. I think Aaron's actually better than Favre. All time, I'd put Aaron slightly ahead of Favre. Aaron, to me, has always been Steve Young. They both have a Super Bowl. They both have 2 MVPs. They're both above average mobility. They're both a little quirky. Young's a left-hander. Aaron's a little smaller than your typical, Brady, Peyton, Bradshaw, Elway, Aikman guy. To me, Aaron's in the Steve Young class. Now, I'm not saying Aaron can't elevate above that. They both have a Super Bowl. They both were having legends above them. Young grew up with Montana over him. Aaron came into the league with Favre over him. Steve Young had the highest passer rating while he played in the game in his peak. Aaron's got the highest passer rating while he's playing in the game in his peak. They're both above average mobility. To me, Aaron is Steve Young. Now, he can elevate if he has 5 more years and wins another Super Bowl. But one of the things that 25 years from now, you're sitting around a bar, if the narrative is, Aaron Rodgers, not his fault. I mean, they never gave him a great defense. He had Jordy Nelson, then he went to Oakland and had 3 great years with Derek Carr. I do think it may not mean anything to Aaron. Those kind of arguments supplement Aaron Rodgers into that elite all-time class. Now, I'm just telling you, my all-time 8 great quarterbacks I've ever seen, Peyton, Brady, Montana, Bradshaw, Elway, Marino, Aikman, Breeze, best I've ever seen. And again, Favre, I like, too many mistakes. And then I fall into a kind of a Staubach, Aaron Rodgers, Steve Young thing. Dan Fouts is up there. But if Jordy goes and blows it up with the Raiders for a couple years, it makes Green Bay look bad, makes Aaron Rodgers look really, really good. Via the Cowherd Global Satellite Network, one of our favorites, Albert Breer, senior NFL reporter, Monday Morning Quarterback. We love having him on. You wrote an article about Aaron Rodgers' quest to be like Tom Brady. Now, it's interesting, Albert, because, sometimes Aaron can be kind of California cool. There's like a distance with like he cares, but not too much. Does he kind of keep track of stuff with Brady?
I think it was more about kind of what motivates him. I think forever what motivated him was how he fell on draft day and how Alex Smith went in front of him and how he had to wait till the 24th pick in that green room. And that has an expiration date. He won 2 MVPs. He won a Super Bowl in the NFC Championship game a couple times in the last few years. And I think it's sort of reached the point where that wasn't pushing him anymore. And he needed new challenges. And, he had a knee injury in 2015. And it was something that had been bugging him for a while. He goes and gets it scoped out after the year. And then he starts looking into his diet and different things that he's been doing. And the new challenge to him became longevity. How do I extend my career? How can I become like Tom Brady has been? And how can I do some of the things that Brady's done? And so I think as much as anything else, Colin, it was about where he's found his motivation. Early in his career, that chip on his shoulder, that was about where he was drafted, how all those teams passed on him. And now it's kind of hard for him to play the underdog. So his motivation is getting to where Brady is, which is to a point of almost unprecedented longevity.
By the way, you're at Browns camp. My bad. I'll get to that in a second. Speaking of New England, Dan Shaughnessy goes after Belichick a week ago. I love that. Brady and his Tom Brady clinic. Somebody goes after Tom Brady. There is a feistiness in the Boston press corps. Like they've been beat up so long by this dynasty in Belichick, this covert machine, that now they sense a weakness. Do you sense a fraying of the system? I mean, it feels like there's little tiny fissures in this, right?
Well, I think we talked about this last fall, Colin, right around the Garoppolo trade. And I really think Tom Brady forever has enabled Bill Belichick's system. It's incredibly powerful for any coach if your best player is willing to be treated like the 30th player on the roster. And forever and ever and ever, Tom Brady was completely fine with that. He was a program guy. He was on board with everything Belichick did. And so every coach in that building could coach everyone hard and point over at number 12 and say, look, that guy's taking it. You can take it too. And that kind of trickled down to the way he was paid, the way he comported himself. Tom Brady came to embody what Bill Belichick wanted in a football player. And when your best player is like that, it means everything. When your best player isn't on board to the same level, it can cause problems. And that's part of what I think they've had to fix over the course of the last 6 months is, like how do you take this next step with the program coming off of a Super Bowl loss if that guy isn't there for the entire offseason program, if that guy is doing little things on social media that look like he's needling the team. I think it makes it a little bit more difficult to run the program the way that Bill wants to run it if he doesn't have that guy sitting there as a symbol of everything that he wants in a player. And so my understanding is that there hasn't been any sort of great effort to fix everything. I think the hope internally in New England is that they're going to find a way when the games start to kind of compartmentalize everything and focus on winning. I still think this is a 12-win team. I still think he's an MVP candidate, but certainly it's not the way it was.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.